Dear listeners, like there is a moment that comes when you are creating something, like when the noise falls away and you are just present with what's emerging, not chasing the perfection, but not performing for anyone, just you and the work, honest, unfiltered, and all, like, right? So for some people, that moment is not just an escape, it's how they find their way back to themselves. And today we are exploring what happens when art becomes a path to the wellness. And at the same time, when expression becomes a practice, and when sharing your truth out loud becomes the most healing you can do. So, welcome to Mind Meets Machine. I'm your host, Avik, and this is the space where we slow down, look closer, and ask the questions that actually matters the most. And today I'm joined by a very, very lovely, lovely guest, I'd say. Someone who lives at the intersection of music, words, well-being, someone who's turned creativity into both the craft and the compass. So please welcome my guest, Ben Barbic. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me here.
Amazing. So Ben, like before we get into the discussion, I'd quickly love if you can just share a bit about yourself and so that people get motivated from what you do.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm a musician first. That was the core of what, you know, uh, grounded me from my earliest days. As of March 3rd, I'm a published author, entrepreneur, speaker. And I think really within all these categories, I'm really curious in life as to what I'm capable of. So it's pretty much pursuit of knowledge, trying to, always find new ways to look at things that are already there, never being, stagnant in any of these categories. The overall is those are the titles that I do, but the philosophy that I do them is actually what I would say is the core element to who I am.
Exactly, exactly. And and just I mean, it's not related to what we will discuss today, but still, because you are into music, I just wanted to understand. I mean, is that, I mean, with me only is, or is it some, I mean, for everyone? Like, you got this, that, let's say, that interest of music from your childhood, or is it like later on in your life you've been into something and from there you get into the music?
Yeah, the building block of it was it was my earliest days. So 5 years old, I was going through a tough time in life, just kind of with what my family was dealing with. So it was immersing into the music, and I just not only music that I listened to, but trying to create any way that I can music. And I always loved how music can kind of be its own world that you can escape and go into. So the seed was planted there. And I think as life went on, I started to take it more
Yeah.
seriously and realized that, I had something I could give a go of. And so when that shift happened, it was a commitment to kind of, practice in public, if you will, right? Just learn the
Yes.
craft and put it out there and grow. So that's really where things became what they are now, is when I made that decision that I'm ready to, publicly put out music and do shows and things.
That's really lovely. That's really lovely. Yeah. Yeah. So, so Ben, like I think a lot of people, they believe that creative work and wellness are both different, are separate lenses.
Mm.
And I mean, one is about the output, and another is about the self-care and all. But you have woven them together in your life. So what do you think is the biggest misconception that people are caring about the relationship between creative expression and also about the mental health?
Yeah, I think the processes within them, they're all the same. And they're all different anchors to the same goal. So meditation practice is, to me, very similar in application to music practice or physical fitness or all of these categories. So I think sometimes the misconception is it's some other thing, or only certain people do creative arts or things like that. But I actually think at its core, if you look at the totality of, for me, let's just say inner happiness, it doesn't have to be music, it could be any creative
Yeah.
art. But if you put some time into a creative art, I think the rewards of that mimic a lot of these other categories. And I think exercise and meditation are very easy ones to put in that same umbrella, because they are, different, but they're the same general thing. And that same feeling of fulfillment when doing fitness or doing meditation or creating art is what I've experienced, and why the summary of all of these parts is really where I find the commonality that, helps life progress.
Yep, yep, exactly. So, when did you first notice that creating was not just something you did, but something that actually changed how you felt inside? So,
Mm.
you have to say.
Yeah, I think I started to have a little bit of faith in my skill set
Okay.
within it. So you just even small things. So like you're singing in the shower and you say, "Oh, that was kind of cool, that thing I just made or came up with that." I'd like to
Yeah.
try and push that further. So the simplicity of that, or you get together with some friends and you freestyling and you're just kind of playing around with lyrics and you're like, "Oh, that landed pretty good. I enjoyed that. They seem
Yeah.
to enjoy the thing." And so then you just kind of keep rolling out. And so there's that. It's hard to describe that feeling when
Yeah.
you think
Yeah.
you're onto something, but I think it comes up in a lot of different categories, right? Where
Hmm.
you just, I think I'm onto something here. That really felt different, or I have something unique to say or contribute within this. So yeah, I think those subtle seeds
Yeah.
early on were important.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think what strikes me here is like how easy it is to treat creativity as kind of optional,
Hmm.
as something we do when we have time left over.
Hmm.
Same thing happened with me also. Like that is the
Hmm.
reason I asked you in the beginning, like whether it
Okay.
is from your childhood or
Yeah. Yeah.
later on you're gonna, yeah. So from my childhood only. I mean, so my parents were into music, right? They were into instruments, vocal. So same way via gene I got something, but yes, I mean it happens. Like it is in our culture also. Like we get to learn things from our childhood, but somehow I chose something different. It is like I did painting. So asked me like, what do you want to do? Like painting or music? So I said, no, I don't love music. No, I don't want to do. I'll go for painting. Yeah, I did painting and I got the distinction and all. I completed everything, sketching and all. But then later, when I was in ninth grade or 10th grade, I remember. So you used to have some inter school competitions and you get to meet with people, a lot of people. So there it is all related to the music, singing. From there, I started, I mean, getting that feeling. Why haven't I learned it? Because I have something from my background. I haven't learned it. I did. Obviously, it is not up to that level because you have to do practice and all from the childhood. So that is the reason I thought like I'll just try to relate. So yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, and those more, it's not always just a straight line
Mm,
with music or any craft, right?
yeah,
So there's dips, there's times when you go explore other things, but I think it's the return to it that is the
exactly.
piece. It's the return to it. That's when oh, there's something here that I keep coming back to, and maybe other practices you don't, right? You once and you're done and you don't come back to it. So yeah, I think picking up on what you said, it's the same. It's the same for me. It was more consistent than not, but there was definitely parts where I pushed it to the side and didn't pursue it, and you
Mm,
know needed to kind of grow into it. And also, with music, especially as a vocalist,
mm,
you're really searching for your identity within it. And that
yeah,
identity when you're young can be kind of confusing. You're going with whatever you think you're supposed to, but sometimes it's for the audience or it's for the peer group when it's
yeah,
not internal. And I think, for me, the music for me, not everybody. Some people can talk about, dancing and types like that. That's just not
yeah.
my form of music. Mine's a very
Mm,
internal journal type of music. And so the more that I tapped into that, the more that I fell in love with the process and returned to it like if you even say daily journal,
yeah,
right? The same general concept.
exactly true. True. So let's bring about our daily life, right? For someone who's juggling the work life, maybe some burnout also. So how does this actually show up? Like, what does it look like to use creative expression as a real tool, not as a kind of idea and all in the middle of the week? So what do
Yeah.
you say?
Well, no, I think that because as everyone, I've had to have real jobs where I have incomes coming in, right? I've had to be in real estate for 20 years. And so doing the real estate, doing the sales, I never stopped at the creative aspect at the same time. And so I could tell from firsthand what the duality of this gives. And so when you're having a hard day and you're burnt and you're having a difficult time with life and whatever is going on in your work,
Mm,
these are the stability that you can feel through your day when
yeah,
you get to return home and give that a certain amount of time. So it's the inverse of the burnout. It's not exhausting. It actually helps enhance it. And just paint a picture like this where no now you're releasing music and you got one coming out in 2 or 3 weeks. And you also have to work and grind and deal with clients and deal with all these things. So now you're starting to have these different channels that protect you from the exhaustion within the work, and you also start to give time. Like I've seen people that are very successful in real estate making well north of $1 million a year, make time for themselves. And it's like a marathon. You have to give yourself that time. And so if you don't allow that stuff, burnout can become real, and you could get caught up in it, and you turn around, and now you're in a position where you can't even sustain your workload. And so the creative arts, just like I believe fitness, is a requirement for it. Now, I'll preface it in, yeah, if you're working a 12-hour day and you're tired, just give it something, because these are the protectors. And I think that
Yeah.
also in the day and age we live in now, it's important to have purpose within these different categories. It's really important. And so if you have this, if you're a painter, if you're a musician that likes to play an instrument or sing or write books, these are insulators. They really are
Exactly.
insulators. Just like meditations, these are insulators from the chaos of life. And the more that we have those in place, the more that we can, thrive. And I'll just take myself in, like I just didn't stop making music because I had to get a job when my son was born. I was obligated to
Yeah.
go to work. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go into real estate because I can still make my music. I can still cultivate my music. It still allows me the freedom. And so, life gives us what we are forced to do, but you don't have to give up on the dream because you got to go make money. It doesn't work like that. And,
Mm.
I could just, I'm a big advocate of this because it cross-pollinates at the same time, and the skill sets from people's jobs can translate into the music industry easily, seamlessly. And same thing now that I'm an author. Those translate into the literary world. So what I've learned in the music business and what I've learned in sales and in real estate directly translates into my experience in books, and dealing with the industry and the publishers and the agents and stuff. It's so my point is this is where life feels the most fulfilling. And, the dream of just making an art, you can have that. But I don't think that that's necessarily the way to go about it. Some people say push everything to the side and just focus on art. I actually think that balance is the most beautiful thing you can do in life, because you're saying that I will continue. I deserve to continue with these things, these crafts that I have put in place and that I like. And so to me, that's one of the cores. You touched on something I'm very
Mhm.
passionate about. I'm very passionate about this topic.
Exactly. I really love that. Yeah. And because it reminds us like that this doesn't have to be a kind of grand thing. It is not about the stage or the gallery or something, but it is also about showing up for yourself in the small and very realistic and honest ways. So that's where the real work happens. So very true. Yeah. And if I also ask about people, I mean, who start something and it feels good for a while, and then life happens. There comes the fall off. They stop. So how do you handle the setbacks in your own creative or the wellness practice? So can guide.
Yeah. So one of the key pieces that I'm really a proponent of is, create no matter what. I like the idea of it doesn't matter your mental space in a day. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how I feel when I show up here today with you. It doesn't matter what happened before. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
I'm here. And so whatever's going on
Exactly.
in my life is going to translate out in our conversation. And I know talking to you, I'm going to leave happy, in a better peace of mind than starting. That's the good, good conversation does that. So I would just say, don't be too concerned with how you feel in this category. Don't be concerned about that. Just continue and think, I deserve this thing, and I'm gonna continue to nurture it, because I deserve it, and it's inspiring to others. And if you got kids, it's inspiring to kids. Just it doesn't really matter how we feel. And sometimes the best art gets done under duress, under stressful situations.
Exactly.
Same thing could be for work. Sometimes the big opportunities come along when you're in a mental space that's different than you're usually in. So I tend to like an unusual mental space because I'm thinking differently, and I know it's temporary. These temporary mental shifts have a gift in them of, okay, I'm a little unsettled today. I have a shorter fuse, but how does that translate in? Or I'm feeling a little melancholy today. Okay, how can that translate? And let me put that into the music, or let me put that into my writing for the day, or and so using the palette of emotions, I think is critical. And if you've taken a break, don't be hard on yourself. I mean, it's important to not be obsessive about it. That's the key point too, right? It's not, oh, I missed. You don't want to do it like you're counting your steps and you missed a day and now, oh, everything's destroyed, right? I missed 10,000 steps and now my streak is over. Don't look at it like that. Just that's what happened. I'm going to continue with this thing because I enjoy it.
That's really lovely. So if you have to give one advice to the listeners today, what will you give?
I would say just give yourself the opportunity and allow yourself to progress with the things that you want to nurture in life. If whatever it is that you have passion for that might be sitting dormant in you, allow yourself that. Say I deserve this. I'm going to give this to myself. And if it's rocky along the way, if there's setbacks, and I'm just going to continue. And that to me is the beauty of this whole process.
Wow. So if listeners wants to connect with you, how they can connect?
They can go to my website, rise, the letter N, climb.com, rise and climb. You can go to any social media, Ben Barbic. You can buy my book on Amazon or anywhere else you buy books. And then my music, same. It's on all streaming services under Ben Barbic. So everything's really under my name. So if you type in my name, just whatever lane you want to check out, it's all there for you.
Amazing. So dear listeners, what I'll do is I'll put all the links, details, everything into the show notes for easy reference. And I just say, like, creative expression is not about being good enough. It is all about being honest to let something move through you. And that alone can be the beginning of healing. So thank you so much, Ben, for sharing your perspectives, your examples from your life, how you manage things. So that is really, really motivating for the listeners. And thank you everyone for being here. I hope this conversation reminded you that the things you create, the things you express, they matter not because how they receive, I mean, they are received, but because of they unlock inside you. So keep making space for that. Keep showing up, even if it's messy or something. So with this hope, this is your host Avik, and this is Mind Meets Machine. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.